Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Myself and Warren King back in action. We thought we'd sit and go over all the action, excitement, drama of EFC 77. Welcome to the show, bro. Welcome back. It's been a minute.
Yeah, just haven't been able to get back in the land of the living for a little bit, but back at it.
No stress. Obviously, it's Sunday, the time we're recording this, so everything's fresh in our memories. Trying to go through what we saw, all the fights, how it panned out, give you our opinion and our thoughts. EFC 77, crazy card, I guess. It was a great way to start the year. Nice to be back in the MMA season. Yeah, man. So let's start with that, Warren. Like, what was your feeling on the event overall? Like, obviously it was the start of the new era of super sport. There's a lot of things going on. So
yeah, I was actually quite impressed last night. You know, I think they made some good adjustments in the actual arena.
Yeah.
They shut off some of the seats, so it felt a lot fuller. And they have a new media package there, so new music, new graphics, new everything looked good. The event ran pretty smoothly. Yeah, it's just Times Square is just a bit difficult at times. You know, it's just logistically it's a little bit difficult, but it's a nice venue. So
yeah.
I think it ran really well. Very impressed. Great way to kick off the year.
Yeah, and it looked good from Supersport side. Like, it was, you know, and that's what we said about Supersport. It's just that legitimacy that you want in your sport, you know. So like the production value was great, and was just that step up from SABC3.
Yeah.
With all due respect, but it was really cool, man.
Did they show SABC? Was it on
SABC? It was 9:30. So it's like a
Okay.
delayed start on SABC3, so it comes a bit later, which is, yeah, I guess.
I don't
it's
see that
just-
don't very long though.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
suppose it's just like it's access, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
there's no one in South Africa that can't say they don't have access to
Yeah.
EFC, which I think is the angle.
100%.
So what we wanted to do is just sit and go through some of the fights and like things that happened. I think just to like brush through the prelims, I think there were some good wins for guys like Marcel Els, who's starting to make his name heard. He got a good win there. Was it TKO?
Yeah, so Nerika submitted
Nerika
to strikes.
Yeah.
Marcel's a decent fighter, you know, like he debuted against Rudy Roots in Fight Star days, and I mean that was like a bit of a baptism of fire. And then I think they were both debuting that day, but then and then he had Sibusisi Mdoku, which isn't an easy feat either. But he's getting his stride now.
Yeah,
looking
sure.
pretty good.
And he looked really good. His ground game is really solid. He's got a good top base, and I think he showed it off. And yeah, man, props to him. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak now. So you know he's definitely starting to climb up those ranks and trying to get himself towards that main card debut.
Yeah.
So that was quite cool. Obviously, Tumisang Madiba got the job done, but it was also, again, we were just talking about a bit of controversy from Tumisang's fight, which was pretty interesting. And it was the first of a bit of controversy on the night. It was the illegal knee, which, you know, these things, like, from my side, when you're watching these things, it's so hard to like decide, was it deliberate, was it intentional, you know what I mean? Like, we just don't really know. You know what I mean?
So I mean, like, if it was any other fighter, I would probably say that it might have just been caught up in the moment. But Cassandra seems to find himself in the center of these like controversial like actions. I remember we were fighting on a fight card in Durban, and I think he fought just before me, and there was just all this controversy about all the things he was doing like during the fights. I don't know. It looked, at face value when I was sitting there, it looked 100% illegal. The intention was to knee a downed opponent, but when watching the replay, don't know like how much of it caught, and like I don't know. I don't know if Supersport caught it, but Tumisang looked very bewildered between rounds. So I don't know how hurt he was, but yeah, that situation shouldn't even happen, you know.
How much of that, like, would you say is intentional versus spur of the moment? You know what I mean? Like, it's that rush of the fight kind of thing. Like, it's, I mean, the rules are very clear, and I think if you're a professional, you do have responsibility to understand what a grounded opponent is, for example. But like, how much of that is getting caught up in the moment, and how much of that is perhaps like frustration? Maybe your game plan is not going your way. You know, like the fight's maybe not going your way, so you're kind of like almost trying to get a way out.
I think Cassandra seems like quite a like primal fighter. Like, you know, basically like he fights on instinct. So I don't think there was this ill intention. I'm going to try and take a chance and hurt Tumi Sang here. Yeah. I think he just fights. He goes in there, he tries to do whatever he needs to do to win. He's a very physical person. Like everyone that's ever fought him, they always come backstage and they're like, strongest guy I've ever grappled. So he's like, his physicality is a main element, and I think he just threw the knee because he saw an opening, but I don't think the intention was there. It's just, I don't know why he always seems to find himself in the center of these illegal strikes and moves and whatever. So not great.
And then obviously it continued, because how that fight ended, I mean, Tumi got a really good transition, got to the back, got the choke, and then it was tapping and not letting go of the choke.
Yeah.
Like that's
for like a good 5 seconds or so.
Yeah, man, and it's like I don't think too many people really picked up on what was going on there, but I mean realistically, like that's what can we say? It's bad sportsmanship.
Yeah.
What it is,
Well, I don't know if you remember Babalu, Renato Sorrell. He got kicked out of the UFC for the exact same situation.
Yeah.
I think it was just emotions were running high. I think had there not been the illegal strike or attempt at a strike in the first round, and just you could see the frustration in Tumi Sang's face, just being wet blanketed for like an entire round, comes out, gets wobbles him with like 2 or 3 shots, gets on his back. I think the emotions are just running high. I think I don't think he should be punished for it, but maybe like a little stern warning that if it happens again,
Yeah, I think, and this is the thing now. Like, there's so many eyes on the sport more than ever. You know what I mean? So like, these things have to have repercussions. They have to be pulled aside and say, look, we understand the emotion of the fight and adrenaline, and you took an illegal knee and stuff, but let's just hone it in. Like you can't hang on to a choke when a guy's tapping like that.
No,
the ref's there, the ref has to break you. And like Bobby Carey-Janides was you could see he was
very upset.
Visibly upset. You know what I mean? And I mean, he's a guy. He's a 2nd or 3rd degree black belt. Like, he knows what's going on, and you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's dangerous for a start. Like, it's unnecessary, and you got to just. And Madiba's Tumi Sang's better than that, and I think he knows that. You know what I mean? Like, he is a guy who is definitely an emotional fighter. We've seen him. We've seen him get a bit emotional before. So it's one of those things, and he's a great fighter, man, and he's a massive asset to the company. So like, it's things you don't want to see.
No, 100%.
Like, it's definitely things you don't want to see. So hopefully he can put that aside and move along.
I think just a stern warning though. You know,
100%.
I know Masa are very quick to whip the money out of your pocket, but let's hope he doesn't get like fined first. I think it's a first time offense.
Yeah, sure.
Just give him a little tap on the hands.
And then it was the massive KO that kind of shook the local MMA nation, man. And it was a strange one, because I think for the most part, I think Pierre Boerta had been written off. I think it was kind of like let's say a bridge on the highway for Rudy Rich just to cross. I think that was the general feeling. Undefeated. I think that's Rudy's first loss. He went 10-0 as an amateur, and I think he was at 5-0 as a pro. So yeah, man, a massive KO, and I think Rudy put up a post. Really, really classy guy, always a professional, and kind of said no excuses. You got to keep your hands up, and he got caught, and that was a scenario, and it was a massive KO, man.
It was like extremely difficult to watch, actually. We all grew up in this community together, and I've been watching Rudy fight since he was like a 16-year-old, like competing up against grown men, and when he got clipped, it didn't look like it hit him that hard, but when you watch the replay, like his head just jolts from being like just caught in the right spot, and then it was difficult to watch just because he was so lifeless for so long, and it wasn't. I mean, the casual fan loved it,
sure,
but like I think the people in the industry were a little bit disturbed by it, it was difficult to like watch someone that happen to, because it kind of like makes it real again for you. Like, this is like, even though a lot of these fights don't end up going this way, like, this is the reality of what could happen, and that post from Rudy was very classy. A lot of guys will make mistakes. It was a bad weight cut, it was this, it was that. Rudy just accepted what happened and moved along,
Yeah, man, it was one of those. It's like, and it's something like, if you're sitting in the back and you get ready for fighters, it's one of those things you don't really want to see. You had teammates that were still yet to fight, and that sort of thing coming up, which was, it was never great to see. I was backstage when Torbjorn got knocked out like that, and like the guys were saying like it's good from Zwanzile, like it's but nobody wants to be someone else's highlight reel.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's the other side of the coin, man. But respect to both guys, man. They came out there. Everyone was expecting this wrestling masterclass, and it ended with a massive KO in quick fashion.
Like when we were backstage there, I saw Pierre warming up, and he literally looked so nervous. It looked like he was going to throw up. Like you could feel the tension that he was feeling. And then Rudy came out, and he looked like high on life. He looked like things couldn't be better in his life. And that kind of gave you this immediate feeling like, oh my goodness, this is not going to turn out well. And then like the complete opposite happened like 30 seconds in. It's a cruel mistress, this game.
No, 100% it is, man. And it's shout out to Rudy Roots. Hope he gets a quick recovery and we see him back in there. Also hope he takes a bit of time off to let that heal. Because a lot of guys tend to come back a bit early, but he's a smart guy, man. And it's it's a loss is not the end of the road, and he'll be back, and I'm excited to see where he goes. Excited to see where Pierre Buerta goes now. All of a sudden he's back in the mix in the featherweight division. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those guys you just can't count him out. He's always there. He's always around.
Well, he called for the shot with Cabeza. I think Igor must like look at him and be like, not again, like another Buerta, like again, like please, it's just anyone else.
Geez, if I'm the EFC, with all due respect, I'm not making that fight, to be honest. Like, but he's
Has Pierre fought him once or twice?
I think it's twice, maybe.
And Henry fought him twice.
Yeah, or it's twice and once, something like that. There's been a never-ending quest between Igor Cabeza and the Buerta brothers. Plus, I think they wrestle each other every other Sunday, so it's like, give them a break. Give them a break. And this is the thing. I think Rudy was like, this win here puts him right in the title shot. When I spoke to him, he wants a title shot, but I don't think he wanted one more before. We heard him call out Steven Gonzalez, who's gone to Brave. He had other plans, but he'll be back on track quite quickly. He's a massive star for the future, so he'll definitely be back. So yeah. And respect to both guys, man. Put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, that was epic. Wow.
And then the mighty controversial point between Gordon Ruttman and Justin Smith. Before anything, I mean, obviously, I've had quite a bit to say about this and been dealing with it online. My feeling on this is it's hard. It's a hard thing. The worst part about this is with these sort of fights is that everything you had the right mixed elements for it to be an absolute cracking fight. You know what I mean? And now you don't get to know who was going to win that. And I think that's the most frustrating part out of all of it. Yeah, man, it's a weird one. Let's start with the strikes. That was something we were talking about now. Was it a DQ because of the placement of the elbows or the 12-6? Because I don't think there were 12-6s there. Very close to 12-6. But that 12-6 is a straight line. I don't think maybe the first.
If there's any sort of arc in the 12-6, then it's no longer an illegal strike. And the placement, like you were saying as well, it's like I'm not 100% sure of whenever you get the briefing, they talk about the mohawk on the back of your head, right? And that's like the illegal zone. But then often you see like refs warning guys back of the ear, and you're like, does the mohawk extend to the back of the ear? Like, I'm not 100%. It's like such a grey area at this stage.
So this happened in the UFC the other day, not this similar sort of scenario, but someone got caught behind the ear, and I think it was Dominic Cruz who was explaining that that's not illegal. You know what I mean? But there definitely seems to be.
Was it stopped in that fight? Was it no pause?
No, it carried on. And I mean, it was like a lead left hook that landed behind. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like, if you think about that, that sort of behind the ear area. If I throw like a lead hook and it lands there and I knock you
quite
out,
easily.
Are you saying that's illegal? It's hard. Okay, obviously the elbows is a different scenario. Especially on the cage like that, working a double leg, trying to get the takedown, and it does happen. Guys do throw elbows like that. But in the same respect, you see those sort of elbows land all the time without it being stopped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this thing. And I know guys brought up JP Bays, like a similar scenario. similar but not at the same time. You know what I mean? Like a similar sort of scenario, but it really wasn't.
Oh, they're talking about the brave fight.
Yeah,
in Pakistan.
So those were numerous amounts of shots directly to the back of the head, and the ref had issued warnings. You understand what I'm saying? So it was like it was a continuous thing. You know what I mean? Like 100%. This was like 1, 2. The ref, I think Vickers actually gave a warning, and then Gordon dropped. You know what I mean? So it wasn't as if like the ref had stopped it straight away. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I think that's what, I'm not 100% sure.
I'd like to see it again. Like I haven't seen the
try and find it. But
I haven't seen the replay. I saw it obviously live at the arena, but the crazy thing is that the beginning of the fight actually started panning out pretty good for both fighters. You know, like they're both landing, and Gordon actually, like moments before that, I don't know if he rocked Justin, but Justin definitely got hurt. He was
in trouble. Yeah,
Justin definitely got hurt. Yeah. So I thought, wow, things are going to pick up a little bit here. And then I think it's disappointing all around to like have it end like that. You know, it's not great. And you know the crazy thing, I've been thinking about it. Like Gordon's calling for a rematch in Cape Town, but I don't think a rematch even makes sense. You know,
look, let's squash that. Let's deal with that, because I think everyone's kind of forgotten what's taking place here. So Justin Smith, first off, is a welterweight.
Yeah.
He's not fighting in his division. He was a late replacement for an injury for Neil Duplessis. He was supposed to be fighting Gordon Reutemann. So now we're in a scenario where we're calling for a rematch. This kid stood up on late notice just to take a fight. You know what I'm saying? So it's inconsequential to him. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, unfortunately, he gets an O on his record, but he needs to go back to welterweight and focus on his division.
Yeah.
Wasting his time with Gordon Reutemann is, in my opinion, that's honest. It's a massive waste of time for him. Like, let it go.
Yeah.
Be done. My honest opinion, Gordon Reutemann's calling for that because I think that he knows that he took a soft route out. I honestly don't believe he was knocked out. I honestly believe he took the elbow. The way you watch the timing, he takes the elbow, there's a delay, then he drops to one knee, and then he kind of like scutters along the floor.
Yeah.
It didn't look to me like he was hurt. I felt like he was acting it out. Like he took the chance. He was like, well, you know, I actually maybe don't really want to be in this kid. Gordon Reutemann, in my opinion, obviously, like it's my humble opinion, he looked out of shape. He struggled. He couldn't make middleweight. There's no ways he should be missing that weight category. His cardio was probably burning. Maybe his lungs were filling up. I just don't think he wanted to be in there anymore. Let's also not forget that that's the second time in a row that he's done that. The last one was a groin strike. How many of these strikes do you see all the time? Groin strikes to the head, and the fight continues. You know what I'm saying? So how is he so different? You know what I mean? Like, and look, honestly, it's my thing is, where there's smoke, there's fire. If this is a continuous thing, someone said to me it was like his third doctor stoppage in a row. I don't know, but anyway, we know there were two definitely DQs where. A groin strike, understand it. My thing is, if you got a groin strike and you can't continue, the next day I'm waiting to hear the doctor's report that something's gone terribly wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, shit, maybe something is wrong. Okay, that's why I can't continue. But there wasn't anything. So it was just a groin strike. How many guys continue? The other side of the coin for me with that is, you know, like, I don't want to
let it out. Let it out. It's gonna fester if you don't like just.
The thing is with Gordon Reutemann is like, you know. He's the same guy saying what a beast Anthony Smith is, you know what I mean, and he's a fighter's fighter, and this is how fighting should be. But then you're saying this and not doing it. You understand what I'm saying? You're robbing this kid of an opportunity. You know what I mean? You're putting an O on his record for what, in my opinion, is you just didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? Like, that fight 100% could have continued. The doctor did his job. I get that 100%.
Doctors are always going to err on the side of caution.
100%. I'm in the doctor and I walk in and it's a fight and there's consequences. We know what the consequences are. And someone's doing that, like crawling around the floor and be like, look, bro, he's probably concussed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm not going to let him continue.
Because if you do let him continue and he was concussed.
100%.
You know, to be completely honest, as it was happening, I actually had looked down, and when I looked up, I saw him scrambling. So I turned to Jason and I said, what happened? And he's like, he got elbowed. And I was like a little bit confused at first because he had just like hurt him with that one strike, and I was like, "Fuck! How can we end it like this? Like this seems so peculiar, you know?" And it's just like, it's frustrating. It's completely frustrating, and I completely hear your frustration. You know,
frustrating. You know what I mean? And it's like my thing is, my thing is, what are you gaining in these DQs? You know what I mean? Are you trying to get your record to look a bit better because it's been 3-6? You know what I mean? And whatever. Are you trying to even that out to 6-6 by DQs? Like, what is the end goal? You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying, the thing with Gordon, you watch the engages and he's got his arms up like he's Nate Diaz, Stockton motherfucker, and like you're putting on this persona. You know what I'm saying? But then you keep winning by DQ. And it looks like, to me, you're blatantly fucking doing it. You know what I mean? Which drives me crazy. It honestly drives me crazy. Because it's the same thing. It was Mzwandi Leklongwa who's going up in the ranks, you know, like really trying to make his way. And you take a groin strike, which happens. It's part of the sport. It's eye pokes, groin strikes. Sometimes elbows land in dodgy places. Like, this is what happens. So every time that happens, you're just going to be like, oh, I can't continue. And take a DQ from somebody. It's not. Look, the other side of the coin is, I have to say, is if I'm 100% wrong, I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? If Gordon was hurt, respect. He did his thing, he got out of there 100%. Then I'll eat humble pie. But my opinion is that he wasn't. That's just my opinion. And I'm not the only one. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys out there straight away started. Twitter was just bombarding me, like, Academy Awards, looks like we're watching the Premier League. You know what I mean? Like, this is what things that people are saying to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, so it wasn't only me. So I was like, okay, because at first you're like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to keep it to myself because maybe I am wrong. You know what I mean? But then there's a whole pile of other people that are seeing the same thing. So, like I said, with this smoke, this fire, man, I honestly, I don't think he was hurt. Were the strikes illegal? Look, we aren't experts on that. We could ask guys.
I literally haven't even physically seen it properly yet. So, I mean, I'd love to see the actual replay.
If you watch the replay, watch the replay and
no, 100%. You know, like, the thing is that it's just, you know, I've been in Justin's position. You know, last year I took a fight on 5 days' notice. I moved up a weight category. My opponent missed not only my weight category, but he missed the next weight category as well, right? And you can understand from Justin's side, he actually risked everything to come in for this fight, and then for it to end the way it ended. Yeah, it's like, it's heartbreaking. You know, like, if we just come back to the missing weight thing, you know, it's probably like my biggest issue with MMA at the moment is guys missing weight. You know, I've got a clear rule. I'm not fighting for a while again, but I won't even agree to a fight with someone that's got a history of missing weight. You know, I think people need to take a stand against it and just be like, it's actually bullshit now. You know, like, it's not fair that people are missing weight, and the penalties are 20% of your fight purse. Like, that means nothing in the end, because you're actually risking the win. You're risking your record. You're risking all this preparation, this investment that you've done, for a guy not to play his part in what's a clear element of the sport. You know,
an agreed upon element.
Yeah. I mean, we all know what we have to do well in advance. You know, and even if Justin came in and missed weight, that would be kind of understandable on short notice. But for my instance, like, August missing weight and he was on that card the entire time, like, that makes no sense in my head, you know. So I don't know. Look, that's more the frustration for me, is the guys missing weight at the moment.
And it's even worse when you've made somebody come up to your weight class and you're still missing the weight class, and then at the weigh-ins you're saying to him, welcome to my weight class. Like, mate, you didn't make the weight. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be in the weight class if you're not making the weight. So there was a lot of these things. Like, look, I don't know if Gordon's doing this just to get people riled up or that's who he is, but you can't be one or the other. You can't be the Nate Diaz bird flipping gangster and then the guy who keeps winning by DQ at the same time. It doesn't work. The two don't go together. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you.
That's a frustration for me. I'm like, just be who you are. Be true to yourself. If you were hurt, 100%. But like, what are we going to carry on watching Gordon Rudman by DQ for the rest of his career? Come on, bro. It's too much.
The only way a rematch makes sense, though, is making Gordon go back down to welterweight, 100%. Redoing it in Cape Town at welterweight with both guys making weight.
Do you think Gordon Rudman can make welterweight?
He's done it before. I mean, Gordon's always been up and down in weight. You know, like, he's actually made welterweight in Cape Town before when he fought Bruno Makulu. So I mean, that's actually, funny enough, a great story, because Bruno actually illegally struck him to the groin 3 times and broke his box in that fight. I don't know if you know about that. He caught
about a broken box, but I do remember that.
No, so I was backstage. I was in his corner for that fight, and I was backstage when he took it out. It was literally snapped in half from 3 groin strikes. I think that fight ended up in a draw from 1 point being deducted. I don't know, a little bit of interesting trivia for all of you guys.
And he didn't take the DQ. Eh?
No DQ there.
So maybe he was hurt. Is what you're saying?
I don't know. The only person that'll know is Gordon, and the only person that'll know if Tumi Sung was hurt is Tumi Sung. You know, like no one knows what's going on. I've been hit by some shots where people look at it and like they don't even think it hurt you, but you're in so much like when I broke my nose last year, like it didn't look like it was broken, like it didn't look hard enough that it was going to smash your nose into two pieces, you know, like it's just sometimes these things happen. I don't know, but I hear you. I feel your frustration, but yeah, I think there's better things to talk about on this card.
Next up was Eleni Lunga versus the Pole Suridovic. This was another one of those fights, man. I actually really enjoyed this fight. It was a hard, gritty fight. I think Eleni Lunga was tested to points where I don't think anyone expected it to go. You know what I mean? Like he got caught on the hands once or twice. Like nothing major, but I mean, like it's
forced to shoot at least here and there. And
So it was. I think Suridovic was grossly underestimated, but great fight, man. A real test for a title contender like Eleni Lunga.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this guy who's been away for so long, we got to see what he's made of. You know. And it was
100%.
It was such a great fight in that respect to really put him to the test. I mean, both Joe Cummins and Suridovic really showed their wrestling credentials. They both came in with game plans. They knew what they wanted to do. For the most part, Suridovic managed to stay away from the left leg of Ilunga. Definitely ate one or two body kicks that I would definitely never want to take.
I mean, Elaine opened up with that first body kick, and I thought, oh, this looks I don't want any bit of this.
Dunzos.
So, Elaine I used to coach Elaine for a short period of time. When he had left the Chivalry and he started getting the win streak going. And I remember holding pads from backstage the one time, and I was catching the right kicks on the pads, no problem. And we started like warming up with switch left kicks, you know. So as I caught it, I felt like my bone in my right arm was going to literally snap off. So about after 5 minutes, I was like, Elaine, you actually have to stop throwing that kick. Like I can't catch the kick anymore on the pads. I mean, I can catch kicks for like welterweights, middleweights, no problems. I just say to him, like, yeah, actually have to calm down, bro. Like I can't actually catch those kicks anymore. He's probably got the strongest like switch high kick I've ever seen in my life. That body, I mean, back then he was standing a little bit more. He was standing far more orthodox, and then switching into Benai, standing a lot more southpaw and like throwing it from there in the open stance. But when he threw
like a little question mark.
That was fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what he opened up with Lucas, the question mark, and then a body kick, and I was like, this looks fucking gonzos, bro. This looks straight out of there. But then like Lucas surprised me. I mean, he at the gritty oak, like got stuck in. He had a fairly decent game plan to like cut the distance on Elaine, not give Elaine the distance to actually like get his kicking game going. Kind of kept him on the back foot the entire time, pressured him. So he had a great game plan, but Elaine's like just he's a step. I mean, you could see there was a massive strength difference between the two. Like, I mean, every time they were in that clinch up against the cage, Elaine couldn't hold the position. Lucas just kept turning it, getting head control, getting under him. So, I mean, if you consider that Elaine's competed a fair bit of his career at featherweight, then moved up to lightweight, and then took this fight at welterweight. Like, there was a massive strength difference, but Elaine took it in his stride and clearly won all 3 rounds in my book.
It was clear cut, but it was a far closer fight. And this is the thing with guys like Suridovic coming over here. We don't know much about them. We don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Like, we know they come from a good camp. They come with high praise from those camps and those sort of things. But I was seriously impressed, man. It's a great signing for the EFC. He's going to give a lot of guys trouble in that division.
Definitely.
He's got a very smart fight IQ. They both of him and Cummins came here with game plans. They stuck to them. They did their thing. For Suridovic, it didn't pan off. Ilunga just had a few more tools. You know what I mean? And it was quite funny to watch, like the things Suridovic was doing, like very like Khabib style, getting the double leg, reaping the legs.
Double leg control up against the cage was good.
So he definitely showed that he's got some good capabilities, man, and he's definitely going to cause some problems in there. But the biggest part of that is we saw Eleni Lunga smiling, happy to be back in there, performing, enjoying himself, which was so great to see. And this is a guy who's been a title contender for the last 3 years, 4 years. You know what I mean? And it's time now. And I posted the thing that him versus Joe Cummins now has to happen. There's no two ways around.
I agree.
You've got this.
What's it like 8 in a row now?
Yeah, seven
in a row.
Seven fight win streak. You've got this teammate grudge match set up going both ways.
Yeah.
You know, everyone wants to see Elaine fight for a title. So, yeah, man.
Yeah,
now,
I
all of a
think
sudden, that lightweight division, welterweight division, the heavyweight division's happening. Everything's kind of opening up. You know what I mean? And I'm just glad we got Elaine Ilunga back in the mix, man.
I think everyone's always like been quite critical of Elaine's ground game and his like wrestling ability, but I think he's no scrub on the ground. I mean, you could see like he was more than capable to get out of those really difficult positions, and he hit one of the most beautiful Asatagari type throws, like put Lucas on his head. Like I think he can hang in the grappling, and he always had the striking ability. I don't know many people that would give him trouble at lightweight, to be completely honest, because him and Martin will never fight each other. Joe's the champ now, and I think that makes the most sense. Both got a deep Muay Thai background or kickboxing background, so yeah, that's exciting. I wouldn't mind actually seeing Lucas versus Smith, maybe in Cape Town. Like that could be a lack of fight to watch.
That would make a great fight, in fact. Then it was the light heavyweight matchup between Shaw Dean and Quentin Rousseau. This was a super strange one for me. Like Shaw Dean just seemed like a guy who, you know, like very amateurish, made a lot of simple mistakes. It looks like a guy that doesn't have a team. He doesn't really have a direction, you know what I mean? So doesn't have like a strategy. He's kind of just going with the flow, and he just seemed to make.
Was that his wife in his corner?
100%.
Is that who he brought out to a corner?
Ben Nazar and Gert Stradel. Yeah, so I thought about that. Perhaps he obviously thought, okay, he can fly out one person. I literally don't think this dude has an MMA team. You know what I mean? I think he's just kind of doing his own thing. He's like a Ronin, MMA Ronin, renegade.
Like a Khoisa. Oh no, man. But it was such a peculiar fight, man. It was like, I just didn't feel that warranted its position and its hype. You know, like Rousseau, give it to Rousseau. They don't know how to win, right? You get a matchup, you're like, oh, it's not going to go his way. He makes it, he gets the win. Another one gets the win. Like, you had some decent grappling exchanges, and you know, you had Shaw like in a bit of danger. He had that deep armbar at the end of round one. He had Shaw's back, and he definitely out-grappled him in the end. It's just, I don't know if that's like the worthy contender for the next.
Yeah, no, for sure. Next time, let's put Pierre Buerta
and
Rudy Ritz in that slot. Let's for sure do that.
Well, imagine that was on SuperSport. I mean, imagine that's how you kicked off the SuperSport card with the biggest knockout of the year on the first card of the year. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, man, it was just
Mistakes
a strange fight. Yeah, just a strange fight. It wasn't. If we're real, it wasn't like a massively entertaining fight. It was kind of just like a speed bump in the way to the next fight, which I think is what we were really after.
Yeah.
Which was the co-main Ricky Micholis versus Jared Van Der Aar for the first title defense for Jared Van Der Aar. Well, first official title defense, moving from interim to full-time champion. Yeah, man, this was again for me like a. If I'm critical of Ricky, I think he was very tentative. He came out a bit slow. You know, I think Jared Van Der Aar starts a bit slower than people realize. I think Ricky would have done well to like really throw his jab, stick it in his face, put a couple of combos together early, like really try and be the aggressor. You know, like Ricky likes to stay at a distance and kind of work off the counter, which I don't think was the right strategy for him in this fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, even the finish, I think Ricky made a mistake. I don't think he was comfortable. He was being forced backwards, and yeah, man, he tried to tuck under almost like a deep half kind of position, and yeah, he just ultimately paid the price, man.
Look, his grappling ability, he couldn't match the grappling of Van Der Aar. It was evident, and you know, like if I was in Ricky's position, I know that it's easy to go with hindsight, but like that camp would have been really around like a lot of scrambling to get back to your feet, because you know Van Der Aar understands that Ricky's biggest strength is his knockout power, hence him also keeping Ricky on the back foot to kind of like cull off that power a little bit. But I think also the moment was like very big for Ricky. I mean, you saw how emotional he was in the post-fight interview. You know, after the fights I went backstage, and one of the officials were actually consoling his daughter. His daughter was distraught. She didn't know, like, she didn't understand. Like, you don't, like, as a fighter, you don't understand, like, the type of pressure that you put on your family with this. You know, that, like, they go through the fight camp with you. I also remember Andrew Smith, the featherweight, when he fought Tupac, and he got knocked out like that, and his pregnant girlfriend or wife or whoever was backstage, and she was also, like, distraught, like, just they don't like they just can't hold it in any longer, you know. And it's just like, it's like almost like a sobering moment, like, to know, like, what you put your family through. Like, you think you're just irritating them with this, like, always not being at home, and you out there, but they're actually, like, living this journey with you, and like they're internalizing it as much as you're internalizing it. So that was like a very sobering moment last night, to just see his daughter just really distraught. I got a straight up rule that my kids don't come to any of these things. Like, it's like, there's like just way too much pressure.
No, 100%, man. It was a massive moment, man. I think, like, he felt like, you know, he wanted to win for all the hard work and for Africa, and continue that momentum for the DRC champions, you know. So he was definitely, he had put extra pressure on himself, you know. But John, man, these are the way these things go, you know. One day it's yours and one day it's not. You know
100%.
Like, I think Ricky was in the fight. He made a mistake, and he paid the price, man. Jad van der Raar, look, I say he made a mistake, but it was from the pressure being applied to him, you know.
Yeah.
I think Jad van der Raar, he's a beast, bro. I don't think we're gonna. There's gonna be a lack of challenges for that guy in the UFC at the moment. That much I can tell you. And I don't think guys are queuing up to fight him at the same time. So it makes things super interesting.
No, they're definitely not queuing up to fight him. Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's many guys in the heavyweight division. I know you suggested previously new heavyweight season 3 of the Fighter.
Yeah. Everyone wants to see that. Everyone
Graham, make it happen.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, who wouldn't want to see that?
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
But get some athletic guys. Like, get like some savage heavyweights in here.
Another interesting thing Ricky said to me, I did a podcast with him before his fight, is that he actually wants to drop to light heavyweight as well. He reckons he can get there quite easily. You know what I mean? Like, he actually had to put on weight to the end for this fight. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, man, he's another guy who wants to go down to light heavyweight, which he's gonna. And then it was the main event, man. Martin van Staden, Joe Cummins. Like, first off, man, all in all, I think it was a great fight. It was a gritty fight. It was a hard fight. It was, you know, it's like it has like that final kind of feeling, like big sport final, and that's what you want in a title fight. You know what I mean? Like, cool, it's cool to get knockouts and stuff like that, but you also want to be kept in suspense. You know, like, especially when it goes one way, like, can the other dude get a knockout or a submission? You know, his chips are down. So I think, and props to the card and props to EFC and Graham. I mean, the card had a bit of everything. You know what I mean? It had all aspects that you want in a fight card, and I think the main event was an extremely high caliber mixed martial arts fight. It was a great one. Unfortunately for Martin, man, it didn't go his way.
Yeah,
that's again the brutality of the sport, man.
I was trying to, like, explain to people, you know, like, there was like a little bit of groaning in the arena at certain stages, like, oh guys, this isn't what, like, I didn't come to watch grappling, like, I wanted to see Martin knock this guy out, or I want to see this guy, but like, these guys are at like the highest level that you'll get to see on African soil at this stage, right? Joe won, I think, 3 or 4 rounds, like 3 rounds or 2 or 4 rounds, so I can't remember the final score, but like, it wasn't like Joe manhandled them. It was like they were like literally fighting inches at a time, you know. They were like
that's a great description.
You know, Joe, it was very apparent from the get-go that Joe wasn't willing to stand and trade with Martin. You know, like, Martin's got this huge like aura about it, how hard he hits, you know, and it's almost like, instead of it being like this, like, you're the heaviest hitter in the EFC and like this is positive thing, it's become like a negative thing for him, because now it's got to such a point that people won't even stand in front of him and trade with him even in the slightest, you know. You could see Joe's entire game plan was around exposing Martin's back from standing and on the ground, and Martin had moments where he dealt with it like well, like especially with that Kimura trap system that he was trying to use, and he did the rolling Kimura, almost like took his back. Like, there was some great, but it was, from a person that I can understand all the various technical aspects, it was such an intense fight and it's such an entertaining fight that I don't think the casual fan actually respected what they were watching last night. You know, the arena was going crazy. So I'm saying that just from the grumbling I heard in that little section that I was sitting in. But it was like so intense, and like the nice thing is also whenever Martin's on a card, there's never a moment in the fight where you think the fight's over yet. Yeah. You know, it's like if you get a guy that got knockout power, there's always this opportunity that he only needs about 10 seconds in the fight to like finish it. Or like a high level grappler, you only need, like Gunnar Nelson. You know, like if Gunnar Nelson gets you on the ground with like 1 minute to go in a 25-minute fight, you're like, oh, this might be the end of it. You know, so it's like it's kind of got that feeling. But you know, Joe's obviously evolved as a martial artist over the years. When he fought Temba, is very critical about the approach that Temba took to that fight. You know, like this taking you down and holding you down and keeping you there. And he's obviously, now that he's full time as a professional athlete, he's obviously evolved into this point where he understands that type of aspect. You know, like he's a high level striker, but he had way more chance to win this fight with the tactics with the game plan that he had developed, with this exposing the back, getting it to the ground, holding him on the ground. And kudos to him. It was a phenomenal display. Martin, I think, only got a few shots off right at the end, like where he landed, and Joe's face looked worse for wear after like just a couple of shots. But I thought that was an epic fight. I thought that was a great way to actually kick off the year.
100%, man. It was an emphatic fight, and like the thing is, it's like I don't think people realize how hard it is to have a game plan and stick to that for 25 minutes. You know what
100%.
I mean? Like you get tagged, things do go wrong, like things start happening. Martin also had a game plan, I'm sure, but it was just one of those, like Martin just couldn't get off what he wanted to get off, and Joe just seemed to have an answer for everything, and knew exactly what he wanted to do and where he wanted to be. And there were these like great technical nuances through the entire fight, and it was and like you said, it created suspense because you can like see, okay, each round, like, you know, like you said, inch by inch, like the rounds getting won, but you know anything can still happen. Like Martin 100%. Can still turn the lights off like that in a second. So
I mean, Martin got him in that anaconda choke. So like, even if you just take away the striking series, you know, like when they were standing, Joe had a couple of like nice kicks, but he was just basically trying to keep the distance and then time the takedown, right? But on the ground, Joe was phenomenal, like with keeping the position, and the actual like control that Joe had was phenomenal. But Martin had a lot of like instances like that rolling Kimura. He was working the Kimura trap a lot of the times. He had the anaconda choke in there. He took Joe's back. Like the grappling was even very entertaining from two guys that aren't known for their grappling. You know, like Martin isn't a scrub on the ground. He's no slouch. Like you're gonna have a hard time when you grapple him. You know, I mean, he holds a dash choke win already in the EFC, which was an epic finish. So it was really entertaining from all aspects. You know, like as I said earlier, it was just like inches. Like Joe just had the right game plan and was able to. I think he only was able to execute the game plan for 4 rounds. Then it kind of got a little bit like wayward in the 5th round, but he had done enough in the 4th. You know, you could see there was like a level of stress going into that 5th, that this fight's still on, like you could get knocked out like any moment now, you know, like, so it was a big night for, I think it was a big night for that camp in general, you know.
And I think they showed what they're really about, you know what I mean, which is really cool. And it's like their wrestling abilities, their strategy, their planning, they're not taking guys lightly, you know, they came with game plans, they stuck to them, they worked the game plans really well. So man, it's and it was highly technical, like in all elements, you know. Like people didn't see like the small things, like just like how he was controlling the hips, and Martin was in bottom half guard, but he had Martin positioned double hip on the ground, which makes the escape almost impossible. So everyone's like, why is Martin not getting up? Well, Martin's not getting up because he's got a highly skilled athlete that's holding him down and doing the right thing technically. We can go into the details of it, but I mean, like Joe did really well, you know, and you have to give credit where credit's due. It's heartbreaking to see Martin not get it done and be like on the verge of the UFC and just like not getting it over the line. And it's like, but you know, I think he showed like how professional he is last night. He took it in his stride. His wife was distraught, but he took it on the chin. He was in good spirits afterwards, you know. It's just you just wish that it would just come right at that last little hurdle for him, you know. No, 100%, man. It's not not easy to watch, especially like I don't think you'll find many people that aren't a fan of Martin van Staden.
Oh
so
yeah, 100%.
it's heartbreaking. You're kind of invested in this journey with him, and you really want him to do well and excel and go to the UFC and carry those things on. But unfortunately, it's just hasn't panned out for him that way. Not to say that the UFC is completely written off. We don't know who.
No,
knows,
I mean, how many guys you see on one fight win streaks getting into the UFC?
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's not really about like how much you win. It's about who you beat.
Yeah, sure.
And if I think like a good couple of wins, and I think he's back on the radar. They already know his name. He's back. People forget that he was almost in the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Like he literally on the last hurdle, like the verification of the record, he got taken off the Ultimate Fighter. Like they know who he is. It's just that last step, He just needs a big. Maybe we redo that ACB fight that he had against Dennis Siva. I'm sure that'll get you back in there, quick sticks.
Get that going. Yeah, man, and that's EFC 77. I think it was a great way to start the year, great event.
Definitely.
I think if there were any new fans that tuned in on Super Sport, that they got to see what the sport was really about. Some great wins, some hard losses, some emotional losses, some emotional wins. You know what I mean? It was a night that had like a mix of it all. And props to everybody involved. Props to the fighters, the fans, EFC. I think it made for a great event, and it's set us up nicely for the year. I think we've got JP Base, Lutando Biko, Jake Hadley, Zulu Boy. So watch out for Jake Hadley. We're going to be chatting to him pretty soon. He's one of those guys that comes with a firecracker mouth, so he's going to make things exciting. But that's EFC 77. We look forward to the next one and on to the year, man. And it's exciting times.
On a side note, like some side news, how was the Cyborg seminar?
Yeah, Cyborg was really cool, man. It was one of those, like, I don't know about everybody else, but like you proper like fanboy out a little bit. So you got to like focus on what she's saying and stuff. Really, really cool. I think it's such a special moment to have someone like her sharing knowledge, here in South Africa, and it was surreal. That was the only way I could kind of describe it. Like I say, like for the first 10 minutes she was talking, you didn't really hear much because I think everyone was like kind of like fanboying out a little bit, and showed us some cool stand-up stuff.
She's like literally like the Muhammad Ali of women's mixed martial arts.
100%, man. Such a cool person as well, like good heart.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
She made a little announcement on TV last night where she was saying that she's looking at doing, I can't remember if it was part of her camp or all of her camp in South Africa.
Yeah, I think she was saying she wants to do her next camp from here, which is massive.
I mean, that's testament to Rich and his system and his approach to everything. I mean, people were like, "Oh, why is Don not going over to America to like prepare for these things?" And like, it's not until you actually like experience the system and the approach that he has that you realize that you don't need to go that far to get the type of the quality of instruction and coaching and guidance and like investment. Like he invests himself into the guys that invest themselves into the sport, and I think her saying that kind of opened everyone's eyes a little bit to like what exactly is going on here. We're not that far. We're not, in terms of coaching, we're not behind anymore. We've got able coaches that'll get you there, and in terms of athletes, we're not that far behind anymore. We got guys competing and being successful at the highest level. So it was a great. I think last night was just a great start to the year. It was like really good, positive start to the year.
Absolutely, man. I think it was a great way to get going. It's been a long few months, but it's here now, so everyone can. It felt like
half a year. It felt like I think like beginning of December we had the last one, and it literally felt like 6 months that we had waited, and it's just like, when's this going to get going?
It was also just all the excitement, all the news, all the new things happening. So I think we were just kind of waiting for that to start to get it going. But anyways, man, I think that's that EFC 77. Hit us with your love, your hate, whatever it is.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. Gordon, I know.
It's coming. It's coming.
But it's all
good. My goodness.
Man, that's us, MMA Republic Roundtable. This is what we want to do. Going forward, we want to look at the fights, break them down, give you our opinion. Man. So hope you enjoyed that. Let us know. Follow us everywhere online. Myself, Warren King, trying to bring you all the news we can as fast as we can.
Literally the next day, come guys.
So that's what we have for you today. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll catch you soon. Ciao.
Peace out.